Hello everyone, my name is Virt, and I'm back. A special hello to my subscribers, because it has been forever since I uploaded a video. I've just been very busy with my personal life. I've still had time to invent. All of this is new. Even more new stuff you just can't see because I'm on short render distance for recording. People that aren't subscribed to me won't know this, but I usually do tutorials in an empty void world. This time I'm just in my sandstone test world because this is not exactly a tutorial. I am going to show you how to build this, but it's more of a presentation of ideas inspired by Etho. A special hello to Etho as well, because this is a video response to his latest LP episode. Etho, I noticed you were having some trouble with your wool from your sheep farm. The setup Etho has, everybody else, looks something like this, while the wool is transported. And he has to get it up to a surface that he's on. Obviously, it's not 2 blocks high. This is just sort of a proof of concept. But in developing this, that I just sort of did absentmindedly while watching his video, I figured something out, which I think is absolutely going to revolutionize item transport. You can already see it right here, and that is tripwires. The interesting thing about this, it won't work if you put a block here. See that graphical change? It won't. The interesting about this is any item that's pushed along by this will actually activate the tripwire. Any sort of entity that's pushed along. This is awesome for item transportation system, because previously there was no way to do this. Because in this case it activates a redstone string but keeps going through the transportation system, and that's absolutely amazing. The way that I implemented this in my little playing around design I made was items go along here. They hit the tripwire, double piston extender goes down, items go in, goes back up, you get them. This would be perfect for Etho if he only had to move up 2 blocks, but he has to move 6. This is the final design that I came up with. I've had this idea sitting around for a while, but I've never really been motivated to build it. Now that I'm getting into mob systems, and now that Etho inspired me to sort of bite down and finish it, I've come up with something that I think is really great. It could have been smaller. These 2 blocks wouldn't have to be there if we're not 1.3, but in 1.3 each repeater needs an additional tick. It's not that much extra space, it's fine, but the way this works is based on, actually I'll show you another concept, which you throw items down in a hole, whoop, whoop, they come straight up to you, and that's because of the way the game clips blocks. Now the way I've implemented this is like this. You throw items down, push a button, pistons happen, and your items come right back up to you. This is the 6 blocks that Etho needs, but this design is great because you can make it as high as you want to go. It literally can just go to the top of the world if you want. And that is because each layer is based on the timing of the last layer. It's not like regular like glowstone style vertical redstone where you can only go so high. This goes infinitely up. So without further ado, I will get into the tutorial and show you how. Alrighty, on to the tutorial. Now, if I sound like super excited, it's because I am. I'm so excited to be back uploading videos. I have so much great stuff built for you guys. All like this, like I said, is new, and even further out. There's some really cool stuff in here, especially that. Not the Blaze Farm, that's pretty awesome, but that, I think, is going to be a little bit revolutionary. Anyways, for now we're doing this, and like I said to people who aren't subscribed to me, my tutorials are usually a little bit more collected and serious than this. This is just sort of a fun thing because of what I thought of an Ethos video. But to get started on this, the first thing you're going to figure out is which way you're going to want to be facing, because the wall in this case is right here. So whichever way you're facing is going to be the side that the pistons are facing towards. So you figure out where your elevator is going to be, and then the pistons are going to be facing that way, because you want to be that way when it's done. Now, one thing to note is that every single block of the upward tube has to be a solid block. If it's not solid, then instead of the items just coming up when you place blocks in, the items are just going to sit there. So be very sure that you're using a completely solid block when you build this. So first thing you're going to do is remove that first block and place a sticky piston right down here with a block on top. This is going to let items straight into the thing when they're all done. Again, this does have to be a solid block. Do not use ice for this part. But it pushes items into the elevator, and then you can stack it up. You can stack this, like I said, as high as you want. I'm going to do 6 because that's what Etho needed for his situation, and this is a video response to him. 3, 4, 5, 6. But you'll be able to do it however high you want after seeing the way that this is explained. So once you're at the top, the wall is going to go here. And the way I've been doing it is putting a button right here, which will do the power. But if you want to have like a whole sheep system like Etho does, you could probably do that tripwire thing that I have showcased over there, and make the elevator only go up when everything is all moved in. So first order of business is to get started on the wiring. So this sticky piston there has to be wired. You can do that just with wire like that. We'll hook that up in a second. But to the back, you're going to place a block next to the first piston with a repeater going into it and redstone on top. The way this is going to work is the design alternates as you go up. So first it's this way, next it's this way, next it's this way, and then it would be the other way if this weren't the top piston. So what you're going to do for each layer is you're going to have the block with the redstone on it, then one next to it, and you're going to build a little ring like this. Then you're going to put a block there so that you've got one dip in the ring, and for facing this direction, a block here, and then 2 back here. You run the redstone like this, and then place one repeater in here with a delay of 3, one with 2, one with 4. And the reason for that is because each piston has to fire 3 ticks after the previous piston in order for it to work reliably in 1.3. So this would be on the 0th tick of the cycle. This would be 3 ticks later, and this is 3 ticks after that, 6 ticks after the first one. I guess you could do this in 2 3s, but it's easier to just do 2 and 4, for me at least. So now we've got one layer done. Now we're going to mirror it. Remember how we put redstone on top of this? This time we're going to put it on the other side. And we're going to build the same ring around with a block in. But this time, instead of putting a block on this side, we put it on this side and put our 2 blocks there. This time we run the redstone up this way. Still a repeater in here set to 3, but this time the 2 and 4 are on this side. And then we do the exact same thing again. Thing here, ring around, block in, but since we don't need to go any higher than this piston, which is powered by this 3-tick repeater, we don't even need these. We can just set this, and the machine is effectively complete. Now just to test it, you can throw some items in. I'll throw my redstone in and power it. If it works correctly, your items will pop up at the top. Let me put that in there. And that's all fine and dandy, but you have to figure out how to vertically power this. Or not vertically, but you just have to figure out how to get it started. In this case, we're powering it from a button, and the way I've been doing that is just a repeater next to the button, and then redstone here and here, repeater there on 1 tick, and then 4 ticks. I'm not even sure you need it this long, but 3 full delay repeaters is the longest you can extend a button pulse. It'll make it like maybe about 2 or 3 times its normal length, I think, because this will turn on immediately because of this, but then take a while to turn off because of these. And so you might be able to do it with just 2. I did 3 just to be safe. But yeah, we can bring this redstone down here. Now there's a trick, which is the reason that I brought it down here, to vertically powering this, which is every time you see these 2 repeaters lined up, if you're vertically powering, there's going to be a torch facing those 2 repeaters. And the reason for that is that when you get down to the dust, it won't interfere with anything, and then if we were to continue this pattern as if this was at the very top of the machine, there would be a thing stacked right here, and then this would be the 2 repeaters from the previous layer that feeds into the start of this one, and there would be another torch there. So because of the way that the machine is designed, that this vertical redstone repeats perfectly all the way down. And so just to get it started, we put right here. Something that's important is that the machine has to be on by default. And the reason that it has to be on by default is so that there's no big gaping hole up here. Because if there... Oop, I broke the wrong thing. Like that. Because if there is a big gaping hole here, then you could fall into that, and that would be very hard to get out of without damaging anything. So powered by default. Remember that. These 2 wires have to be on when the machine starts. Actually, you could, yeah, power it like that. Powered on by default. So after we have that powered, we can just check that it works. Yep. Everything works correctly, but we have a huge gaping hole right here, which you could fall into and die. So in order to prevent that issue, there's actually a pretty simple fix, which is to use the previous layer, the layer before the top piston, to keep the top piston retracted, which we do by inverting a signal. Now I'm using a full tick delay repeater depending on at what point in the circuit you stop, depending on how high your thing is. You might have to use a different amount of ticks, or you might have to use the same amount of ticks. But you just bring power up from the previous layer, and what that does is when I push this button, it only opens right before it needs to go. So just to test your machine real quick, throw that down, push the button, and it will come right back up to you. So now you have successfully built this. Like I said, you could hook up any sort of input you want to this. You could have the tripwire on ice thing I did earlier. It's really up to you. I'm just showing the stackable elevator design mainly. So I hope this is a help to you, Etho, and I hope this is a help to you, all my subscribers. Like I said, there will be a lot of new awesome videos coming out soon. There's a ton of stuff I'm actually really excited about. So stay tuned for that. Oh, we're ending just as the sun goes down. So goodbye sun, goodbye YouTube, and I will see you in the next video.